In the 7th or 8th century, a renowned Sufi saint named Omar lived in Iraq, his humble abode located in Baghdad. Every day, countless people came to visit him. Saint Omar greeted everyone warmly and made them feel welcomed with genuine affection. One day, a dervish visited Omar. To his surprise, he found that the saint, though a fakir, was seated on a golden throne. The air was filled with the aroma of exotic perfumes, embroidered curtains hung elegantly, fresh fruits adorned the tables, and dozens of servants stood ready to follow orders. In short, the scene exuded royal opulence. The dervish was puzzled. A Sufi fakir living in such luxury. He had always believed that fakirs led lives of austerity and renunciation. After all, a fakir, by definition, was a wandering ascetic with no worldly attachments. But this Sufi seemed to reside not in an ashram, but a palace. Saint Omar welcomed the dervish with a feast of 32 delicacies. After the sumptuous meal, Omar invited the dervish to stay for a few days as his guest and enjoy the comforts offered. The dervish, determined to leave the next morning, couldn't help but be tempted by the lavish dinner served that evening. Breaking his resolve, he indulged in the delicious dishes, savoring each bite. It was a far cry from the bland meals he'd eaten from his begging bowl. The night's rest was another revelation, a plush bed with velvet cushions and attendants to massage his tired limbs. It was a level of comfort he had never experienced before. As he lay on the luxurious bed, the dervish thought, "Can I ever go back to sleeping under trees or eating dry, tasteless bread after this?" His resolve to leave crumbled. Just one more day, he told himself. One day turned into 7. The dervish began to fear his growing attachment to this life of ease. "If I stay here any longer, I will lose my purpose," he thought. Determined to leave, he approached Omar early one morning. Saint Omar, dressed in nothing but a simple loincloth, was sitting in the garden, enjoying the chirping of birds. The dervish, still uneasy, said, "Please grant me permission to leave." Omar, reading the turmoil on the dervish's face, smiled and granted his request without a word. Unable to suppress his curiosity, the dervish said, "Forgive me, but I must speak my mind. I came here after hearing of your reputation as a Sufi fakir. Over the past week, I've observed your life closely, but I see no signs of asceticism or spiritual practice. Instead, you seem immersed in luxury." Omar laughed and replied, "If it bothers you so much, I can leave all this behind and join you right now." Doubtful, the dervish replied, "Then let's leave at once." Omar, without a second glance at his opulent surroundings, began walking with the dervish. They had barely walked 100 steps when the dervish suddenly stopped and exclaimed, "Wait! I left my begging bowl in your palace. I need to go back for it." Omar chuckled and said, "That's all? At your single word, I left behind immense wealth and luxury, yet you cannot let go of your begging bowl. This attachment of yours, this is the root of all suffering. As long as the mind clings to even a bowl, true detachment is impossible and enlightenment remains elusive." Humbled by Omar's profound words, the dervish lowered his head in shame. He apologized to the saint and continued on his journey, wiser for the experience. Reflection. Omar's lesson was clear. The question isn't what binds us, it's why we are bound. Attachments can come in any form, be it a palace or a simple bowl. True freedom lies not in renouncing the material world, but in mastering the art of living unattached. Like a lotus blooming in the mud, one can dwell amidst luxury and still remain untouched by it.